Hi everyone. This is going to be my brand new podcast, or whatever you like to call it. At the moment, I will be using YouTube to broadcast, and I hope that it starts reaching as many people as possible. We have a chronic situation in this country at the moment. The government are having problems with certain medical supplies, specifically opiate opiate painkillers. And due to that, it means that patients are being cut back on the amount of opiates that they need for their pain management. In July of last year, one of my tablets became unavailable. And they put me on an alternative, and I will tell you exactly what that was. I was on diamorphine tablets, which they were unable to get into the country, which I don't blame anybody for. But morphine sulfate tablets work completely differently, and they have not been working on me, which means that it's left me in severe pain. The diamorphine tablets have now become available. All the specialists are refusing to re-prescribe them. When I was last in the Manor Hospital, one of the doctors told me the reason for this was that the hospital had been told to stockpile the diamorphine and use it only in operations and not to be allowed to be used for pain relief outside of that. Now, I personally believe that's completely wrong, and I hope that some of you out there also agree with that. If a painkiller works for somebody, then it should be allowed to be used. Let me just give you a bit of a background on myself. For the last 15 years, I was on diamorphine. It started off because a cardiologist put me on it because I had what's called microvascular angina, which cannot be controlled by any other drug. They tried and tried and tried. I was a guinea pig for nearly 5 years before they realised that diamorphine tablets actually worked for me. Now, yes, over the 15-year period, there were doctors that questioned that and tried to change the regime. Most of the time over that period, I had doctors that actually fought for me and kept me on the diamorphine. But since July of last year, it seems to have become very, very noticeable that it doesn't matter how much I mention the fact that it worked for me and that I was able to live a normal life, which I'm not living a normal life anymore, I will put straight. I struggle to walk. I suffer severe pain constantly. I don't sleep for days on end, and the doctors are aware of this, but they just don't seem to be willing to listen. GPs are not willing to listen. Consultants in pain management are not willing to listen. Now, I thought the idea of consultations was supposed to be a two-way thing, and yet the doctors speak down to me and refuse to listen to me. The problem with that is I am an educated person. I understand exactly how diamorphine works. I actually understand how opiates work. And for 15 years, because of my understanding of diamorphine, I was able to keep it under control and make sure that it did the best for my pain relief. Now, there are many out there who have suddenly been ripped off their opiates. And it seems to be through the programs that the government have been putting on, the Panama program that was on about opiate use in this country and the rise of it. And since then, it just seems to have become a free-for-all. Yes, there are addicts out there. The thing is addicts need help as well. To suddenly remove a drug from an addict can actually also be dangerous. And yet, in some cases, it has been done. So it's time to stop messing around with people's lives. It's time to stand up and say that we in pain will put up with it no longer. We need a voice, and we need it now, before it's too late. For too long we have sat quietly and done absolutely nothing. And because we've done nothing, both the doctors who play God, and I will name the doctors now in my care, Dr. Raya, who is at City Hospital as a pain consultant, didn't even bother speaking to me properly, he just spoke down to me. Then there is the doctors, the GPs, who have just basically turned around and said, you shouldn't be on this drug, even though it was several doctors that put me on the drug in the first place and told me that I would be on the drug for the rest of my life due to my pain. And I do have an opinion, and my opinion matters, and what I say should be listened to, and you have not listened to me. And because you have not listened to me, I am now coming out, and I am going to make sure that you hear my voice, because I am not someone for you to walk over. I am not someone for you to play God with. You are not godlike people. You are practitioners, which means that you practice medicine and you do not fully understand it. Let me make myself clear. I know my body. You don't. And for too long, you have not listened to me. You have not heard me. And I will make my voice heard. Is that understood? You will see my voice and you will see my face from now on until you start realising that people in chronic pain need help and need to be listened to. We are not a body of people who you can just push aside. Yes, we may cost the NHS money. Yes, we may be a pain in your backside. But I can promise you today, I am going to be a bigger pain in your backside than you have ever seen before. City Hospital, Manor Hospital. All the GPs that I have been under for the last few months, be prepared, because I am coming for you. And I am going to make sure that people are aware that you do not listen to people that are in pain and will not stand down when a patient knows what's best for him. And yes, just because I've not had 7 years of training, I've had 4 years of training. 4 years of training in biomedical sciences. So I do have an understanding of some of the medication. I do have an understanding on how it affects my body. And yet, you still will not listen. Well, that is your mistake. That is your error. Because from now on, I am going to be a thorn in your side. Not just for me, but for every single person on the chronic boards, on the chronic pain boards, on Facebook, and anyone else who approaches me to stand up for them. I will stand up and I will be heard. You will no longer walk all over us. I promise you, we have a voice and we will be heard. You will hear from me very soon and you are going to regret ignoring me.